Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special extended edition of English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I am absolutely thrilled to have you join me today for what promises to be a transformative session. Today, we are going to deep dive into a topic that affects every single one of us, regardless of where we live or what we do for a living. We're going to talk about how to organize your day. This is not just about being productive. It is about finding balance and clarity in your life while we practice your English listening and speaking skills. We will be looking at specific vocabulary related to daily routines, time management habits, digital organization, and even professional leadership. The goal of today is to help you talk about your schedule with confidence and to give you the language tools you need to structure your life more effectively. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let us begin this journey toward a more organized life. When we talk about organizing our day, we often start with the concept of a routine. A routine is simply a sequence of actions that you do regularly. Having a solid routine can reduce stress because you do not have to waste mental energy deciding what to do next. In English, we often use the phrase, set the tone, to describe how the beginning of something affects the rest of it. For example, your morning routine sets the tone for the rest of your day. If you rush around feeling stressed in the morning, you might feel anxious all day. However, if you start calmly, you are more likely to stay focused. Let us explore some useful vocabulary for the morning. You might describe yourself as an early bird if you like waking up early, or a night owl if you prefer staying up late. Regardless of which one you are, the first step is usually waking up. Many of us use an alarm clock. A common phrasal verb here is go off. We say, my alarm went off at 7 in the morning. Now be honest, do you get up immediately or do you hit the snooze button? The snooze button gives you those extra few minutes of sleep. But some experts say it actually makes us more tired and groggy. Groggy is a fantastic adjective that describes that weak and confused feeling you have when you are not fully awake yet, so you force yourself to get out of bed. In English, we often use the phrasal verbs get up and wake up. Remember that waking up is the action of opening your eyes, and becoming conscious while getting up is the physical action of leaving your bed. Once you are out of bed, we often talk about freshening up. To freshen up means to wash your face, brush your teeth, and generally make yourself feel clean and awake. After you have freshened up, many people swear by the habit of making their bed. It seems like a small task, but it gives you a sense of accomplishment right at the start of the day. In English, we might call this a small win. A small win is a minor success that motivates you to achieve more. Following this, many people head to the kitchen. Whether you drink coffee, tea, or just water, we often call this hydrating or caffeinating. You might say, I cannot function without my morning coffee. The word function here means to operate or work properly. While you are having your breakfast, it is a perfect time to look at your schedule. A schedule is a plan for what you will do and when you will do it. You might also hear people use the word agenda. Although agenda is more commonly used for business meetings, it can also refer to your personal plan for the day. This brings us to one of the most important tools for organization, which is the to-do list. A to-do list is simply a list of tasks you need to complete. However, writing a good list requires skill. In English, we use the word prioritize. To prioritize means to decide which tasks are the most important and should be done first. You can categorize your tasks into urgent and important. Urgent means it needs immediate attention, whereas important means it has long-term value. A great phrase to use here is eat the frog. This is a funny idiom that means doing your most difficult or unpleasant task first thing in the morning. If you eat the frog early, the rest of the day feels easier by comparison. So ask yourself, what is the one big thing I must accomplish today? Accomplish is a great B2 level verb that means to achieve or complete successfully. When you write your list, try to be specific. Instead of writing work, write finish the quarterly report or email the client. Specificity helps you take action. Now that we have our morning routine and our list, let us move into the main part of the day, which is usually dedicated to work or study. This period requires focus. A common problem we all face is distraction. A distraction is something that takes your attention away from what you are doing. Common distractions include social media notifications, emails, or noisy environments. To combat this, many people use a technique called time blocking. Time blocking is a method where you divide your day into blocks of time. Each block is dedicated to accomplishing a specific task or group of tasks, and only those specific tasks. For example, you might have a block from 9 to 11 for deep work. Deep work refers to professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. During this time, you might turn on the Do Not Disturb mode on your phone. This is a very useful phrase in modern English. I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. Another popular method is the Pomodoro technique. This involves working for 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. In English, we often use the word interval to describe a period of time between events. So you work for an interval of 25 minutes. Taking breaks is crucial. Crucial means extremely important. If you do not take breaks, you might suffer from burnout. Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. To avoid burnout, you need to pace yourself. To pace yourself means to do something at a steady speed, so you do not get too tired too quickly. During your break, it is good to stretch or walk around. We often say I need to stretch my legs, which implies standing up and moving after sitting for a long time. Let us transition now to the midday point. In English-speaking cultures, lunch is not just about eating, it is a mental reset. A reset is the act of starting something again or clearing your mind. You might say, I am going to grab a bite to eat. To grab a bite is a casual way of saying you are going to get some food quickly. After lunch, many people experience what we call the afternoon slump. A slump is a sudden fall or decline. In this context, it refers to a drop in energy levels. You might feel sleepy or less motivated around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. This is natural. To fight the slump, avoid heavy meals that make you sleepy. Instead, try to do tasks that require less mental energy during this time. For example, organizing your files, answering routine emails, or tidying up your workspace. To tidy up is a phrasal verb meaning to organize or arrange things neatly. A clean environment often leads to a clear mind. As the day progresses towards the evening, it is important to have a cutoff time. A cutoff time is a specific time when you stop working. This is essential for work-life balance. Work-life balance refers to the equilibrium between your professional life and your personal life. When you finish work, you might say, I am clocking out for the day, even if you do not literally punch a time clock. It is a way of signaling to your brain that work is done. Now we enter the evening routine. Just as a morning routine sets the tone, an evening routine helps you wind down. To wind down means to relax gradually after doing something that has made you tired or worried. This is the opposite of winding up or getting excited. Your evening routine might include cooking dinner, spending time with family, or pursuing a hobby. A hobby is an activity done regularly in one's leisure time for pleasure. One incredibly effective habit to add to your evening is preparation for tomorrow. In English, we have a saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. If you take 10 minutes at night to lay out your clothes for the next morning and review your schedule, you will sleep better. You are clearing your mental load. Mental load refers to the invisible cognitive effort involved in managing a household or a schedule. By writing things down, you transfer that load from your brain to the paper. Another beautiful practice is gratitude. Gratitude is the quality of being thankful. Some people keep a gratitude journal where they write down 3 things they were thankful for that day. This shifts your mindset from what you did not do to what went well. It ends the day on a positive note. A positive note here means a happy or optimistic feeling. Now, to truly master your day, we must dig deeper into the psychology of why we organize ourselves, the way we do, and we are going to learn the specific language you need to discuss habits, procrastination, and time management at a higher level. Let us begin by talking about habits. A routine is essentially a collection of habits. A habit is something that you do often and almost without thinking. In English, we have a great idiom for this. We say it is second nature. When something is second nature, it means it is so familiar that you do it automatically. For example, brushing your teeth is second nature to you. You do not have to debate with yourself about whether to do it, you just do it. The goal of organizing your day is to make productivity second nature. To build a new habit, experts talk about a loop consisting of a cue, a routine, and a reward. A cue is a signal to start a specific action. For example, leaving your running shoes by the door is a cue to go for a run. The routine is the action itself, running. The reward is the positive feeling you get afterwards. In English, we might call this a sense of accomplishment or an endorphin rush. However, building good habits is not always easy. We often struggle with what we call bad habits. A bad habit is a negative behavior pattern. We have a famous saying in English, old habits die hard. This means it is very difficult to change a long-established pattern of behavior. If you want to change, you might say, I want to turn over a new leaf. To turn over a new leaf is an idiom meaning to start behaving in a better way. For instance, if you are usually late, you might decide to turn over a new leaf and start being punctual. Punctual is an adjective that means happening or doing something at the agreed or proper time. Being punctual is a sign of respect for other people's time. One of the biggest enemies of punctuality in organization is procrastination. Procrastination is the thief of time. That is a proverb meaning that delaying things causes you to lose time that you can never get back. When we procrastinate, we are often avoiding a task because it feels difficult or boring. We might say, I am dreading this task. To dread means to anticipate with great apprehension or fear. You might dread making a phone call or dread writing a report. When you are dreading something, you tend to put it off. Another phrasal verb for this is stave off, although stave off usually refers to averting something bad rather than just delaying. For delaying, we stick with put off or push back. You might say, can we push back the meeting to 3 o'clock? To overcome procrastination, you need willpower. Willpower is the ability to control your own thoughts and the way in which you behave. However, willpower is like a muscle, it gets tired. That is why it is harder to be disciplined at the end of the day. Disciplined means showing a controlled form of behavior or way of working. If you lack discipline, you might find yourself falling down a rabbit hole. This is a wonderful idiom derived from Alice in Wonderland. To fall down a rabbit hole means to get deep into a subject or activity, usually on the internet, to the point where you lose track of time. You might go on YouTube to watch one video and suddenly it is 2 hours later and you have watched 20. You fell down the YouTube rabbit hole. To avoid this, you need to be mindful. Mindful means conscious or aware of something. Be mindful of how you spend your time. Let us switch gears a little and talk about the vocabulary of being busy. In English, learners often just say, "I am busy." But there are so many more colorful ways to express this. If you have a lot of work, you can say, "I am swamped." Swamped literally means flooded with water, but metaphorically it means overwhelmed with an excess amount of something. You could say, "I am swamped with work this week." Another common expression is, "I am snowed under." This gives the image of being buried under snow, but the snow is actually paperwork or tasks. You might say, "I would love to come to dinner, but I am snowed under at the office." If you have absolutely no free time, you can say, "I am tied up." To be tied up means to be occupied or engaged. For example, "I am tied up in a meeting until 4. A slightly more informal phrase is, "I have a lot on my plate." This implies that your life is like a dinner plate and it is full of responsibilities. If you add one more thing, the food will fall off. So you might say, "I cannot take on this new project. I already have a lot on my plate." On the other hand, if you are not busy, you might say your schedule is wide open. Wide open means you have no appointments or commitments. You might say, "I am free as a bird," which suggests a sense of total liberty. However, most of us strive for a balance. We want to be productive, but not stressed. Stress is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension. To manage stress, we need to learn how to say no. Saying no is a vital part of organizing your day. If you say yes to everything, you will burn out. But saying no can be rude if not done carefully. In English, we often use the phrase, "take a rain check." To take a rain check is a polite way of declining an invitation with the implication that you would like to accept it at a later date. You could say, "I cannot make it for lunch today. Can I take a rain check?" This softens the refusal. Let us discuss the tools of the trade. Tools of the trade is an idiom referring to the equipment needed to perform a job or task. In the context of organization, our tools are calendars, planners, and apps. A calendar is a chart or series of pages showing the days, weeks, and months of a particular year. We often talk about marking something on the calendar. A slightly more modern verb is to schedule. You schedule an appointment. If you need to change the time, you reschedule it. If you cancel it completely, you call it off. To call off is a phrasal verb meaning to cancel. For example, they called off the meeting because the boss was sick. When you are looking at your calendar, you might look for a window. A window in this context is not glass in a wall. It is a free interval of time. You might ask, "Do you have a window this afternoon to talk?" Or you might say, "I can fit you in between 2 and 3. To fit someone in means to find time to see them despite being busy. Now let us focus on the concept of deadlines. A deadline is the latest time or date by which something should be completed. The origin of this word is actually quite dark, coming from prison camps, where crossing a line meant death, but today it just means the due date for a project. We often talk about meeting a deadline, which means finishing on time, or missing a deadline, which means finishing late. If the deadline is approaching quickly, we say it is looming. A looming deadline hangs over you like a dark cloud. If you are working very hard to meet a deadline, you might be working against the clock. To work against the clock means to work in a great hurry to get something done before a particular time. If you work late into the night to finish, you are burning the midnight oil. To burn the midnight oil is a classic idiom meaning to read or work late into the night. For example, I have a big exam tomorrow, so I will be burning the midnight oil tonight. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, things go wrong. We face interruptions. An interruption is an action of stopping the continuous progress of an activity. It could be a phone call, a knock on the door, or a technical issue. When you are interrupted, you lose your train of thought. Your train of thought is the sequence of thinking. Losing it means you forget what you were thinking about. To get back on track takes time. That is why minimizing interruptions is key. Key here means of paramount importance. You might put a sign on your door that says, "Do not disturb." Or you might tell your family, "I need some quiet time." Quiet time is a period of silence or calm. It is essential for deep thinking. Let us practice some more shadowing to help these phrases stick. Remember to repeat after me. I have been swamped with work lately. Try that. I have been swamped with work lately. Good. Now let us try an idiom. I need to stop procrastinating and turn over a new leaf. Excellent. And one more regarding time. Can we take a rain check on dinner? Very good. Using these natural expressions will make you sound much more like a native speaker. Native speakers rarely use textbook English all the time. They use a mix of formal words and idioms. Now we are going to venture into a territory that dominates modern life, which is the digital world. Organizing your physical space is one thing, but organizing your digital life is an entirely different challenge. We live in an age of information overload. Information overload is a state of being overwhelmed by the amount of information one has to process. We are constantly bombarded with emails, messages, news, and notifications. To be bombarded means to be attacked continuously with something. If we do not organize this flow, it can drown us. So let us talk about how to keep your head above water. To keep your head above water is an idiom, meaning to manage a difficult situation, especially financially or mentally, just enough to survive. Let us start with the inbox. Your inbox is the folder where new emails arrive. For many people, the inbox is a source of anxiety. Anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease. There is a concept called inbox zero. Inbox zero is a rigorous approach to email management aimed at keeping the inbox empty or almost empty at all times. To achieve this, you have to make quick decisions. When an email arrives, you can do one of three things: delete it, delegate it, or do it. If it is junk mail, delete it immediately. Junk mail or spam represents unwanted or unsolicited email. If it is something someone else can handle, delegate it. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it right away. If it takes longer, schedule it for later. We also have a very useful button called unsubscribe. To unsubscribe means to remove your email address from a mailing list. If you receive newsletters that you never read, be ruthless and unsubscribe. Ruthless means showing no pity or compassion for others, but in this context, it means being very strict and decisive. Beyond email, we have to manage our files. Whether you use a computer or a smartphone, digital clutter can slow you down. Digital clutter refers to unorganized files, photos, and documents. You should create a logical folder structure. Logical means characterized by or capable of clear sound reasoning. For example, you might have a folder for work, a folder for personal documents, and a folder for photos. Inside the work folder, you might have subfolders for each project. A subfolder is a folder inside another folder. This is like a digital filing cabinet. We also need to talk about the cloud. The cloud refers to software and services that run on the internet instead of locally on your computer. Storing files in the cloud is great because it allows you to sync your devices. To sync is short for synchronize, which means to cause to occur or operate at the same time or rate. If you sync your phone and laptop, you can access your files from anywhere. This offers great flexibility. However, the digital world also brings the danger of addiction. Many of us are addicted to our phones. Addiction is the fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity. We engage in what is called doom scrolling. Doom scrolling is a relatively new word that describes the act of spending an excessive amount of time reading large quantities of negative news online. It makes us feel bad, but we cannot stop. To combat this, we need a digital detox. A detox is a process or period of time in which one abstains from or rids the body of toxic or unhealthy substances. A digital detox means spending time without your devices. You might decide to have a screen-free evening. Screen-free means without using smartphones, tablets, or computers. This can significantly improve your sleep and your mental clarity. Clarity is the quality of being clear in particular coherence and intelligibility. Now let us transition to the environment in which we organize our day. The world of work has changed dramatically in recent years. We now have two main camps: remote work and office work. Remote work, often called working from home or WFH, involves working from a location other than a central office. Office work is the traditional model where you commute to a specific building. Both have pros and cons. Pros and cons is a phrase meaning the advantages and disadvantages of something. The main advantage of remote work is the lack of a commute. You save time and money. However, a major disadvantage is isolation. Isolation is the process or fact of isolating or being isolated, effectively being alone. When you work from home, you miss out on the water cooler moments. The water cooler is a machine that dispenses drinking water in an office, but the phrase water cooler moment refers to the casual, informal conversations colleagues have when they take a break. These chats build relationships and team spirit. Another challenge of working from home is the blurring of lines. When your home is your office, it is hard to separate work life from home life. The lines become blurred, meaning unclear. You might find yourself checking emails at dinner or doing laundry during a meeting. To stay organized while working remotely, you need a dedicated workspace. A dedicated workspace is an area used only for work. It tells your brain that when you sit in this chair, it is time to focus. If you work from your bed or your sofa, your brain gets confused. It does not know if it should be relaxing or working. On the other hand, working in an office provides structure. Structure is the arrangement of and relations between the parts or elements of something complex. The office environment forces you to be disciplined. However, it also comes with distractions like noisy colleagues or impromptu meetings. Impromptu means done without being planned, organized, or rehearsed. There is also a middle ground called hybrid work. Hybrid means a thing made by combining two different elements. A hybrid work model allows employees to work from home some days and go to the office on other days. This is becoming very popular because it offers the best of both worlds. The best of both worlds is an idiom, meaning a situation wherein one can enjoy two different opportunities. You get the focus of home and the socialization of the office. Socialization is the activity of mixing socially with others. Regardless of where you work, the principles of organization remain the same. You need a schedule, you need to prioritize, and you need to communicate effectively. Now, I promised we would talk about goal setting. Organization is useless if you do not know what you are organizing for. You need a target. A target is an objective or result towards which efforts are directed. The gold standard for goal setting is the SMART framework. SMART is an acronym. An acronym is an abbreviation formed from the initial letters of other words and pronounced as a word. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Let us break this down because understanding this will change how you approach your English learning and your life. First, S for specific. A goal should be clear and specific, not vague. Vague means of uncertain, indefinite, or unclear character or meaning. For example, saying, "I want to learn English" is vague. A specific goal would be, "I want to learn 50 new phrasal verbs related to business." See the difference? Specificity gives you direction. Next, M for measurable. You need to be able to track your progress. If your goal is to get better at listening, how do you measure that? A measurable goal would be, "I want to listen to one podcast episode every day for 30 days. You can count the episodes. You can check them off your list. This allows you to see your progress, which is very motivating. Motivating means providing a reason to act in a certain way. Then A for achievable. This is crucial. Your goal must be realistic. Realistic means having or showing a sensible and practical idea of what can be achieved or expected. If you say, "I want to speak like a native speaker in 1 week," that is not achievable. It is impossible. Setting impossible goals leads to disappointment. Disappointment is sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. An achievable goal pushes you but is still within your reach. Within reach means possible to get or achieve. For example, speaking for 5 minutes without stopping is an achievable goal for a B2 learner. Next, R for relevant. Does this goal matter to you? Relevant means closely connected or appropriate to the matter at hand. If you are learning English for travel, you do not need to learn medical vocabulary. That is not relevant. Focus on what will help you in your life. If you want to get a job in an international company, focus on business English. Align your daily organization with your relevant goals. To align means to place or arrange things in a straight line or to give support to. Finally, T for time-bound. A goal needs a deadline. We talked about deadlines earlier. If you do not have a date, you will procrastinate. Instead of saying, "I will read a book," say, "I will finish this book by December 31st. Having a date creates a sense of urgency. Urgency is importance requiring swift action. Let us practice applying SMART goals to your daily routine. Suppose you feel your mornings are chaotic. A vague goal would be, "I want a better morning." A SMART goal would be, I will wake up at 7 a.m. every weekday for the next month to spend 20 minutes reading English news. This is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. When you set goals like this, your organization becomes much easier because you know exactly what to fit into your schedule. Another advanced technique for organizing your day is called batching. Batching means grouping similar tasks together to do them all at once. For example, instead of checking your email every 10 minutes, you batch it. You check it at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5 p.m. You process all the emails at once. This saves mental energy. Every time you switch tasks, you pay a switching cost. Switching cost is the time and mental effort it takes to change your focus from one thing to another. If you constantly switch, you get tired faster. You can batch many things. You can batch your phone calls. You can batch your cooking. We mentioned meal prep earlier. Meal prep is essentially batching your cooking. You cook all your meals for the week on Sunday, so you do not have to cook during the week. This is highly efficient. Let us also talk about the vocabulary of maintenance. Organizing your day is not a one-time event, it requires maintenance. Maintenance is the process of keeping something in good condition. You need to review your system. A review is a formal assessment of something with the intention of instituting change if necessary. I recommend a weekly review. Sit down on Friday afternoon or Sunday evening and look at your week. What went well? What went wrong? Did you meet your SMART goals? In English, we often use the phrase course correct. To course correct means to make a change in direction to get back on the path to the destination. If you notice you spent too much time on social media, you can course correct for the next week by setting a limit. A limit is a point or level beyond which something does not or may not extend or pass. I want to introduce you to the concept of friction. In physics, friction is the resistance that one surface or object encounters when moving over another. In productivity, friction is anything that makes it harder to start a good habit. To organize your day effectively, you want to reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for bad habits. For example, if you want to run in the morning, reduce friction by putting your clothes next to your bed. If you want to stop watching TV, increase friction by taking the batteries out of the remote control. It sounds funny, but it works. By adding just one extra step, you give your brain time to think and make a better decision. Let us do a little more shadowing practice to cement these ideas. To cement means to settle or establish firmly. Repeat after me. I need to declutter my digital files to improve my efficiency. Try that. I need to declutter my digital files to improve my efficiency. Good. Here is one about goals. I will set a SMART goal to track my progress. Excellent. And one more about work. I prefer a hybrid schedule to get the best of both worlds. Very good. Hearing your own voice say these words helps you remember them. As we move deeper into this topic, consider the role of accountability. Accountability is the fact or condition of being accountable, responsibility. Sometimes organizing your day is hard to do alone. You might need an accountability partner. An accountability partner is a person who helps you keep a commitment. You tell them your plan and they check in with you to see if you did it. To check in means to contact someone to report one's status. For example, you might tell your friend, "I am going to study English for 1 hour today." Later, your friend asks, "Did you do it?" Knowing that someone will ask makes you more likely to do it. This is human nature. Human nature refers to the general psychological characteristics, feelings, and behavioral traits of humankind. We care what others think of us, so we can use that to our advantage. Let us briefly touch on the aesthetics of organization. Aesthetics is a set of principles concerned with the nature and appreciation of beauty. While function is most important, beauty helps too. If your planner is beautiful, you are more likely to use it. If your workspace is attractive, you are more likely to want to sit there. This is why stationery is so popular. Stationery refers to writing materials like paper and envelopes. Buying nice pens and notebooks can be a small motivation. However, do not fall into the trap of productive procrastination. Productive procrastination is doing low-value work to avoid doing important work. Spending 3 hours decorating your planner instead of doing your work is productive procrastination. It feels like work, but it is not moving you toward your goals. But life is not just about work and productivity. If you organize your work perfectly, but neglect your soul, you have not really succeeded. So we are going to explore how to organize your social life, how to prioritize self-care, and how to handle it when life throws you a curveball. To throw a curveball is a baseball idiom meaning to present someone with an unexpected and difficult problem or situation. Life loves to throw curveballs, so we need to be ready. Let us start with social life. Humans are social creatures. We need connection. But when you are busy trying to learn English, advance your career, and keep your house clean, friends can sometimes feel like a distraction. This is a dangerous mindset. Instead, you should view your social life as essential maintenance for your happiness. However, you need to organize it. We often use the phrasal verb pencil in. To pencil someone in means to arrange an appointment or meeting tentatively. You might say to a friend, "Let me pencil you in for dinner on Friday." We say pencil because pencil can be erased, unlike ink, implying flexibility. If you are very busy, you might have to schedule your friends weeks in advance. This might feel unromantic or cold, but it is actually a sign of respect. It shows you value their time and want to ensure you see them. We often call this carving out time. To carve out means to take something from a larger whole, especially with difficulty. You have to carve out time for your loved ones. In the age of social media, we suffer from a condition known as FOMO. This stands for fear of missing out. It is that anxious feeling you get when you see your friends having fun without you and you feel like you should be there. FOMO can destroy your organization because it makes you say yes to events you do not have time for. The antidote to FOMO is JOMO, which stands for the joy of missing out. JOMO is the satisfaction of knowing you are exactly where you need to be, even if that is at home in your pajamas studying English. To embrace JOMO, you need to be comfortable with your own company. You need to value your downtime. Downtime is a time during which a machine or computer is out of action or unavailable for use. But for humans, it means time spent relaxing. This brings us to the concept of quality time. Quality time is time spent in giving another person one's undivided attention in order to strengthen a relationship. It is not about the quantity of hours, it is about the quality of the interaction. 1 hour of focused conversation is better than 5 hours of sitting in the same room looking at your phones. When you are with friends, be present. Being present means being fully conscious of the moment and not distracted by the past or future. Put your phone away. We sometimes call this being in the moment. If you are constantly checking your schedule while with friends, you are not in the moment. Now let us discuss the vital topic of self-care. Self-care has become a buzzword recently. A buzzword is a word or phrase, often an item of jargon, that is fashionable at a particular time or in a particular context. But self-care is not just about bubble baths and chocolate. True self-care is about parenting yourself. It is about making sure you get enough sleep, eating nutritious food, and moving your body. It is about setting boundaries. We touched on boundaries at work, but you need boundaries in your personal life too. A boundary is a line that marks the limits of an area. In psychology, it is a limit you set on how others can treat you or how much of your time they can take. If a friend calls you every night for 2 hours to complain and it makes you tired, you need to set a boundary. You might say, "I can only talk for 20 minutes tonight." This protects your energy. If you do not practice self-care, you risk burning the candle at both ends. To burn the candle at both ends is an idiom meaning to exhaust oneself by doing too much, especially going to bed late and getting up early. If you do this for too long, you will crash. We want to avoid the crash. We want sustainability. Sustainability is the ability to be maintained at a certain rate or level. Your routine must be sustainable. If your routine requires you to sleep only 4 hours a night, it is not sustainable. You will eventually get sick. Listening to your body is a skill. It means paying attention to signals like headaches, fatigue, or irritability. Irritability is the quality or state of being easily annoyed or made angry. If you are snapping at people, it might be a sign you need a break. To snap at someone means to speak to them in a sharp and angry way. Let us talk about mental health and mindfulness. Mindfulness is the quality or state of being conscious or aware of something. It is a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment. Organizing your mind is just as important as organizing your desk. Many successful people use meditation to organize their thoughts. Meditation is a practice where an individual uses a technique such as mindfulness or focusing the mind on a particular object, thought, or activity to train attention and awareness. Even 5 minutes of sitting in silence can help clear the cobwebs. To clear the cobwebs is an idiom meaning to make one's mind more alert or to clear away confusion. Another tool is journaling. Journaling is the practice of keeping a diary or journal that explores thoughts and feelings surrounding the events of your life. Writing down your worries can help you process them. We often call this a brain dump. A brain dump is the act of transferring all the information in your brain to paper to relieve stress. Now, what happens when your perfectly organized day falls apart? Life is unpredictable. Unpredictable means not able to be foreseen or known beforehand. You might get a flat tire. A flat tire is a tire that does not have enough air. Your child might get sick. The internet might go down. When these things happen, you need resilience. Resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties' toughness. A resilient person does not panic. Panic is sudden, uncontrollable fear or anxiety. Instead, they adapt. To adapt means to make something suitable for a new use or purpose, or to modify one's behavior. We often use the phrase roll with the punches. To roll with the punches is a boxing idiom, meaning to adapt to adverse circumstances. When life punches, you do not stand stiff, move with it. When an emergency happens, you have to triage. Triage is a medical term used to assign degrees of urgency to wounded or ill patients. In productivity, it means deciding which tasks can be ignored and which ones must be handled immediately. If you have a family emergency, your English study session is no longer a priority. That is okay. Do not feel guilty. Guilt is a wasted emotion in organization. Instead, simply reschedule. We talked about rescheduling earlier. It is about being fluid. Fluid means able to flow easily, not fixed. Be like water. If there is a rock in the path, the water flows around it. Be the water. Let us explore the concept of the catchment area or buffer time. Buffer time is extra time added to a schedule to allow for delays. If you think a task will take 1 hour, schedule it for 1 hour and 15 minutes. That 15 minutes is your buffer. If you finish on time, you have a break. If you run late, you are still on schedule. This reduces stress significantly. Many people pack their schedules back to back. Back to back means consecutive. If you have meetings back to back, you have no time to breathe or go to the bathroom. Always leave a buffer. It gives you breathing room. Breathing room is space or time to recover or relax. Another aspect of long-term organization is the quarterly review. We talked about weekly reviews, but looking at the bigger picture is also important. The big picture refers to the situation as a whole. Every 3 months or every quarter, sit down and look at your life. Are you happy? Are you moving in the right direction? Maybe your goals have changed. That is allowed. You are allowed to change your mind. Maybe you wanted to learn French, but now you want to focus on Spanish. Adjust your sails. To adjust your sails is a metaphor meaning to change your course or method to suit new circumstances. We also do a yearly review. The end of the year is a traditional time for reflection. Reflection is serious thought or consideration. You might make New Year's resolutions. A resolution is a firm decision to do or not to do something. However, statistics show that most resolutions fail by February. This is because they are not supported by a system. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. That is a famous quote by James Clear. So instead of just making a resolution, build a routine. Let us discuss the difference between urgent and important. This is known as the Eisenhower matrix. Tasks can be urgent, meaning requiring immediate action, and important, meaning having great significance or value. We tend to focus on the urgent tasks like a ringing phone or a crying baby. But we often neglect the important but not urgent tasks like exercise planning or learning English. If you only do urgent things, you are constantly putting out fires. To put out fires is an idiom meaning to deal with emergencies as they arise rather than planning to prevent them. You want to spend more time in the important but not urgent quadrant. This is where growth happens. Growth requires investment. You have to invest time now to save time later. Let us integrate some shadowing practice here to reinforce these softer skills. Repeat after me. I need to carve out some quality time for my family. Try that. I need to carve out some quality time for my family. Good. Here is one about resilience. When things go wrong, I try to roll with the punches. Excellent. And one more about self-care. I will not burn the candle at both ends. Very good. Remember, shadowing is about mimicking the rhythm and intonation, not just the words. We should also talk about the physical environment of your home and how it affects your mental state. We mentioned decluttering, but let us talk about flow. Flow in interior design refers to how you move through a space. Is your home organized in a way that makes your routine easy? For example, if you take vitamins every morning, are they in a cupboard that is hard to reach, or are they on the counter? If they are hard to reach, you might forget them. Make the right path the easiest path. This is called environment design. You are designing your environment to shape your behavior. If you want to watch less TV, hide the remote. If you want to read more, put a book on your pillow. These are small tweaks. A tweak is a fine adjustment to a mechanism or system. Small tweaks lead to big changes. Let us touch on the concept of saying yes. We talked a lot about saying no, but knowing when to say yes is also key. Say yes to opportunities that align with your values. Values are a person's principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. If you value adventure, say yes to travel. If you value education, say yes to a new course. Organization creates the space for you to say yes. If your life is a mess, you cannot say yes to a spontaneous trip because you are too behind on work. Spontaneous means performed or occurring as a result of a sudden inner impulse or inclination and without premeditation. Being organized gives you the freedom to be spontaneous. This sounds like a paradox. A paradox is a seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or proposition that, when investigated or explained, may prove to be well-founded. But it is true. Structure creates freedom. We also need to address the feeling of being in a rut. To be in a rut is an idiom meaning to be stuck in a pattern of behavior that has become dull and unproductive and is hard to change. Even the best routine can become boring. If you feel like a robot, it is time to shake things up. To shake things up means to make significant changes to an existing system or organization. Change your route to work. Try a new coffee shop. Listen to a new genre of music. Novelty is important for the brain. Novelty is the quality of being new, original, or unusual. It keeps your brain young and active. Learning English is a great way to introduce novelty. Every new word is a new discovery. Let us talk about sleep specifically. We mentioned it as part of self-care, but it deserves its own focus. Sleep is the foundation of everything. If you are sleep-deprived, you function at a lower cognitive level. Sleep-deprived means suffering from a lack of sleep. You make more mistakes, which means you have to redo work, which takes more time. It is a vicious circle. A vicious circle is a sequence of reciprocal cause and effect in which two or more elements intensify and aggravate each other. You work late, so you sleep less, so you work slower, so you have to work late again. Break the cycle. Prioritize sleep as if your life depends on it, because it does. Create a sleep sanctuary. A sanctuary is a place of refuge or safety. Keep your bedroom for sleep and intimacy only. No work in the bedroom. Another advanced tip is to automate whatever you can. To automate means to convert a process or facility to largely automatic operation. Use technology to your advantage. Set up automatic bill payment so you do not have to remember to pay bills. Use a robotic vacuum cleaner if you can afford one. Use templates for emails you send frequently. A template is a preset format for a document or file. Automation saves brain power. We have a limited amount of decision-making energy each day. This is called decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is the deterioration of the quality of decisions made by an individual after a long session of decision-making. If you waste energy deciding what to wear or what to eat, you have less energy for important work. This is why Steve Jobs wore the same clothes every day. He was eliminating a decision. You do not have to wear a uniform, but you can plan your outfits on Sunday. Let us wrap up this section by talking about gratitude again, but in a deeper way. Gratitude is not just saying, "Thank you." It is a mindset of abundance. Abundance is a very large quantity of something. The opposite is a scarcity mindset, where you believe there is never enough time or money. Organization helps move you from scarcity to abundance. When you organize, you realize you have enough time if you use it wisely. Wisely means with wisdom. You stop fighting against the clock and start working with it. Time becomes your friend, not your enemy. You begin to savor the moments. To savor means to taste or enjoy completely. You savor your morning coffee. You savor the chat with your friend. You are present. Now we are going to synthesize everything. To synthesize means to combine a number of things into a coherent whole. We are going to take all these separate pieces of the puzzle and create a master plan for your life. We will also address what happens when you fail, because failure is a part of the process, and we will review the most essential vocabulary we have learned so far to ensure it is locked into your long-term memory. Let us begin by addressing the elephant in the room. This is an idiom meaning a major problem or controversial issue that is obviously present but is avoided. The elephant in the room is the fear of failure. You might be thinking, Jessica, this all sounds great, but what if I cannot keep it up? To keep it up is a phrasal verb meaning to continue a course of action. What if I start this new routine and then after 3 days I stop? This is a very common fear. We call this falling off the wagon. Originally, this phrase referred to someone who stopped drinking alcohol, but now we use it for any habit. If you stop your diet, you fall off the wagon. If you stop your English study, you fall off the wagon. The most important thing to learn today is that falling off the wagon is not the end. It is just a stumble. A stumble is a moment where you trip or lose your balance. When you stumble, you have 2 choices. You can stay on the ground and give up, or you can get back up and dust yourself off. To dust yourself off means to recover from a fall or a failure and prepare to try again. The biggest mistake people make is the all-or-nothing mindset. This is the belief that if you cannot do something perfectly, you should not do it at all. For example, you miss your morning alarm, so you decide the whole day is ruined, and you do nothing. This is illogical. Illogical means lacking sense or clear, sound reasoning. If you get a flat tire on your car, you do not slash the other 3 tires. You fix the flat tire and keep driving. It is the same with your day. If you have a bad morning, you can still have a good afternoon. You can hit the reset button at any time. This requires self-compassion, which we mentioned earlier. It also requires a concept called the clean slate. A clean slate is an absence of existing restraints or commitments, often used to describe a fresh start. Every morning is a clean slate. Actually, every hour is a clean slate. You do not have to wait for Monday or New Year's Day to restart. You can restart right now. This is the power of the present moment. The past is gone, and the future has not happened yet. You only have now. So if you feel disorganized right now, simply take a deep breath and pick one small task to do. Just one. This breaks the paralysis. Paralysis is the inability to act or function. Action is the antidote to despair. Antidote means a medicine taken or given to counteract a particular poison. In this case, action cures the poison of feeling stuck. Let us talk about the long-term trajectory. Trajectory is the path followed by a projectile flying or an object moving under the action of given forces. In life, it refers to the direction your life is taking. Organization is about correcting your trajectory. Imagine a plane flying from London to New York. If the pilot adjusts the course by just 1 degree south, the plane will end up in Washington, D.C. or somewhere else entirely. Small daily habits are those 1-degree adjustments. You might not see the difference today or tomorrow, but in a year, you will end up in a completely different destination. This is why consistency is more important than intensity. Intensity is the quality of being intense or having extreme force. Studying English for 10 hours in one day is intense, but studying for 20 minutes a day for a year is consistent. Consistency wins every time. Now I want to discuss the plateau. A plateau is an area of relatively high ground, but in learning, it refers to a state of little or no change following a period of activity or progress. You will hit a plateau with your organization and your English. You will feel like you are not improving. This is normal. Do not panic. The plateau is actually where the consolidation happens. We learned the word consolidate earlier, meaning to make stronger. Your brain is wiring the new information. Just keep showing up. To show up means to be present and do the work even when you do not feel like it. Eventually, you will experience a breakthrough. A breakthrough is a sudden, dramatic, and important discovery or development. You will suddenly realize that organizing your day has become easy. It has become second nature. Let us integrate the concept of the review one last time. We talked about the weekly review, but I want you to think about the life review. Ask yourself some big questions. Why do I want to be organized? Is it to make more money? Is it to have more time with my children? Is it to feel calm? Your why is your anchor. An anchor is a heavy object used to moor a ship to the sea bottom. Your why keeps you grounded when the storm comes. If you do not have a strong why, you will give up when things get hard. Intrinsic motivation comes from inside you. Extrinsic motivation comes from outside, like a reward or a punishment. Intrinsic motivation is much more powerful. Find the joy in the process, not just the result. Now let us do a massive vocabulary review. I am going to weave a story using many of the words we have learned in this series. I want you to listen carefully and see if you recognize them. Imagine a character named Tom. Tom used to be a night owl. He would stay up late doom-scrolling on his phone and burning the midnight oil to finish work he had put off. He was constantly procrastinating. His mornings were chaotic. He would hit the snooze button 5 times and then rush to freshen up. He skipped breakfast and just grabbed a coffee to caffeinate. By the time he got to work, he was already overwhelmed. He felt snowed under by his emails, and he was always fighting fires. He had no work-life balance, and he was heading for burnout. Then Tom decided to turn over a new leaf. He wanted to get his life back on track. He started by setting a SMART goal. He decided to wake up early to become an early bird. It was hard at first, but he used his willpower. He started to prioritize his tasks. He learned to eat the frog, doing the hardest task first. He used time blocking to manage his schedule and turned on Do Not Disturb to avoid distractions. He stopped multitasking and focused on deep work. He also learned to delegate tasks that were not important. He made sure to take breaks to avoid the afternoon slump. He even started meal prepping on Sundays so he had nutritious food. Slowly, Tom's life changed. He felt more productive and effective. He had more downtime to spend with his friends, and he stopped feeling guilty about relaxing. He realized that organization gave him freedom. He was no longer running against the clock. He was in control. He had built a resilient system that could handle interruptions. Even when he had an off day, he knew how to bounce back. To bounce back is an idiom meaning to recover well after a setback. Tom had mastered the art of organizing his day. Did you catch all those words? If you did, congratulations. You have absorbed a huge amount of high-level English vocabulary. If you missed some, do not worry. You can always listen to this series again. Repetition is the mother of learning. The more you hear these words in context, the more they will stick. Now we are going to move into an exclusive segment of our special. We have covered the foundations, but I realize there are some specific scenarios we have not touched upon yet. Real life is not always a standard 9-to-5 workday. Sometimes we are students preparing for huge exams. Sometimes we are travelers exploring the world. And sometimes we are parents juggling 1,000 responsibilities. So let us look at how to apply organization skills to these specific and challenging situations. This will give us a chance to learn even more specialized vocabulary and practice listening to complex descriptions. Let us start with students. If you are preparing for a major exam like the IELTS or the TOEFL, or perhaps a university entrance exam, your daily organization is critical. We talked about studying earlier, but exam preparation requires a specific strategy called a study plan. A study plan is an organized schedule outlining study times and learning goals. The biggest mistake students make is cramming. Cramming is studying intensively over a short period of time just before an examination. While cramming might help you remember facts for one day, it does not lead to long-term retention. Retention is the continued possession, use, or control of something, or in this case, the ability to keep information in your memory. Instead of cramming, you should use spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is a learning technique that incorporates increasing intervals of time between subsequent review of previously learned material. This means you review a word today, then again in 2 days, then in a week, then in a month. To organize this, you need a calendar specifically for your revision. Revision is the action of rereading work done previously to improve one's knowledge of a subject. When you organize your study day, you must pay attention to your syllabus. A syllabus is an outline of the subjects in a course of study or teaching. Break the syllabus down into small chunks. A chunk is a thick, solid piece of something. In learning, chunking means breaking big topics into small, manageable pieces. If you have to learn 1,000 words, do not try to learn them all at once. Organize your day to learn 10 words every morning. We call this the drip feed method. To drip feed means to provide gradually in small amounts. This prevents cognitive overload. Cognitive overload refers to the situation where the teacher gives too much information or too many tasks to learners, simultaneously resulting in the learner being unable to process this information. By organizing your day with plenty of breaks, you keep your mind fresh. Now let us shift to a completely different scenario: traveling. You might think that when you are on vacation or holiday, you do not need to be organized. But actually, a little bit of organization can save your trip from disaster. When you travel, you need an itinerary. An itinerary is a planned route or journey. You do not need to plan every minute, but having a rough idea of where you are going each day helps you see more. A rough idea means a general, vague, or approximate idea. Organization starts before you even leave your house with packing. Packing is the action of putting things into bags or cases. Many people overpack. To overpack means to put too many things into a suitcase. To avoid this, make a packing list a week before you go. This gives you peace of mind. Peace of mind is a feeling of being safe or protected. When you are traveling specifically across time zones, you face the challenge of jet lag. Jet lag is extreme tiredness and other physical effects felt by a person after a long flight across several time zones. To organize your recovery from jet lag, you need to force your body to acclimatize. To acclimatize means to respond physiologically or behaviorally to a change in a complex of environmental factors. This means if you arrive in the morning, stay awake even if you are tired. Force your body into the new routine immediately. Sunshine is your best friend here. Sunshine helps regulate your circadian rhythm. So organize your first day to include a long walk outside. Also, keep your documents organized. Keep your passport tickets and insurance in a safe, accessible place. Accessible means able to be reached or entered. Losing a passport is a nightmare that can be avoided with a simple system. Let us talk about organizing for parents or caregivers. If you have children, your routine is not entirely your own. You are at the mercy of someone else's needs. To be at the mercy of means to be under the complete control of. This can be incredibly frustrating. Frustrating means causing annoyance or upset because of an inability to change or achieve something. The key vocabulary word here is juggling. Juggling literally means throwing multiple balls in the air and catching them, but metaphorically it means coping with the requirements of two or more tasks or people at the same time. You are juggling work, kids, and house chores. To survive this, you need a shared calendar. A shared calendar is a digital calendar that everyone in the family can access. If your partner knows that you have an English lesson at 7 p.m. because it is on the calendar, they can watch the children. Communication is the bridge between chaos and order. Another important concept for parents is batching tasks for the family. We talked about batching email, but you can batch life tasks. For example, buy all birthday gifts for the month on one day. Do all the laundry on Saturday morning. This is often called a system. A system is a set of things working together as parts of a mechanism or an interconnecting network. When you have a system, you do not have to think, you just follow the steps. This saves brain power for the fun stuff, like playing with your kids. Fun stuff refers to enjoyable activities. Let us also consider seasonal organization. Our energy levels change with the seasons. In the summer, when the days are long, we often have more energy. Long days means the sun sets late. You might wake up earlier and exercise outside. In the winter, when it is dark and cold, we naturally want to hibernate. To hibernate means to remain inactive or indoors for an extended period. Your routine should adapt to the seasons. In winter, maybe you do yoga indoors instead of running in the park. Maybe you read more books. Do not force a summer routine into a winter reality. Be flexible. We learned flexibility earlier. This is about being in tune with nature. To be in tune with means to be in harmony with. Now I want to address a very specific question I often get asked. Jessica, how do I organize my day when I am unemployed or looking for a job? This is a very difficult time because you have too much unstructured time. Unstructured means without a formal or systematic arrangement. When you have no boss telling you what to do, it is easy to drift. To drift means to be carried slowly by a current of air or water, but here it means to move aimlessly. To avoid drifting, treat your job hunt like a full-time job. Wake up at a set time. Dress professionally even if you are just sitting at your computer. Divide your day into segments. One segment for searching for jobs, one segment for updating your CV, and one segment for learning new skills like English. Your CV or curriculum vitae is a brief account of a person's education qualifications and previous occupations. Organizing this process keeps you motivated and prevents depression. Let us talk about the concept of the contingency plan. A contingency plan is a plan designed to take account of a possible future event or circumstance. It is basically a plan B. What if your internet breaks? What if you get sick? Having a plan B reduces anxiety. For example, if my internet breaks, I will use my phone's hotspot. If I get sick, I will listen to English podcasts instead of doing grammar exercises, because listening is easier. Being prepared for the worst helps you hope for the best. This is a common saying, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. I also want to introduce the idea of the weekly theme. This is an advanced organization technique. Instead of doing a little bit of everything every day, you assign a theme to each day of the week. For example, Monday is for administrative tasks. Tuesday is for creative work. Wednesday is for meetings. Thursday is for learning. Friday is for wrapping up. This allows you to get into a deep state of flow because you are not switching contexts constantly. Context switching is the act of jumping between different types of tasks. It is very draining. By using themes, you stay in one mindset for the whole day. This might not work for everyone, especially if you have a reactive job, but for freelancers or students, it is powerful. Let us discuss the role of environment in more detail. We mentioned decluttering, but let us talk about ergonomics. Ergonomics is the study of people's efficiency in their working environment. Is your chair comfortable? Is your screen at the right height? If you are uncomfortable, you will get distracted. You will fidget. To fidget means to make small movements, especially of the hands and feet, through nervousness or impatience. Investing in a good chair is investing in your productivity. Also consider lighting. Natural light is best, but if you work at night, get a warm lamp. Harsh lighting can cause headaches. Harsh means unpleasantly rough or jarring to the senses. We should also talk about the vocabulary of commitment. A commitment is an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. When you put something on your schedule, you are making a commitment to yourself. Many of us are good at keeping commitments to others, but bad at keeping them to ourselves. If you promised your boss you would finish a report, you would do it. But if you promise yourself you will study English, you often break that promise. Why? Because there is no immediate consequence. A consequence is a result or effect of an action or condition. To fix this, create artificial consequences. Tell a friend that if you do not study, you will buy them dinner. Making the cost of failure real helps you stay organized. Let us practice a few more shadowing sentences related to these new topics. Repeat after me. I need to create a contingency plan in case things go wrong. Try that. I need to create a contingency plan in case things go wrong. Good. Here is one about travel. I will make a packing list to avoid overpacking. Excellent. And one for the students. Spaced repetition is more effective than cramming. Very good. These are sophisticated sentences that show you have a high level of English understanding. I want to touch on the idea of boredom. We are often afraid of being bored, so we fill every second of our day with activity. We scroll on our phones while waiting for the bus. We listen to music while washing dishes. But boredom is actually good for creativity. When your brain is bored, it starts to daydream. Daydreaming is a series of pleasant thoughts that distract one's attention from the present. Some of the best ideas come when you are doing nothing. So organize some do-nothing time into your day. It sounds counterintuitive. Counterintuitive means contrary to intuition or to common sense expectation. But doing nothing can actually help you do more. It gives your brain a rest. Let us also look at the difference between efficiency and busy work. Busy work refers to work that keeps a person busy but has little value or importance. You can spend all day organizing your desktop icons by color. You are busy, but are you productive? No, you are just procrastinating. Be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, is this task actually moving the needle? To move the needle is an idiom meaning to make a noticeable difference in something. If the task does not move the needle, maybe you should delete it. Finally, let us talk about the celebration of small wins. We often wait for the big victory like passing the exam or getting the promotion to celebrate. But life is made of small moments. If you manage to stick to your schedule today, celebrate it. Give yourself a small reward. A reward is a thing given in recognition of one's service effort or achievement. It could be a piece of chocolate, a walk in the park, or watching an episode of your favorite show in English. Positive reinforcement helps habits stick. Reinforcement is the process of encouraging or establishing a belief or pattern of behavior, especially by encouragement or reward. If you feel good after being organized, you will want to do it again. Now we are going to push the boundaries even further. To push the boundaries means to go beyond the usual limits. We have organized your home, your schedule, and your mind. But now, we are going to step into the professional arena. The arena is a place of activity, conflict, or debate. We are going to discuss how to organize your communication, your professional relationships, and your career path. This is vital because being organized is often the difference between a good employee and a great leader. Leaders are organized not just with their time, but with their thoughts. So let us sharpen our pencils and dive into the world of professional mastery. Let us start with meetings. Everyone complains about meetings. They can be long, boring, and unproductive. But if you organize a meeting well, it can be a powerful tool. First, you need an agenda. An agenda is a list of items to be discussed at a formal meeting. If there is no agenda, do not hold the meeting. The agenda sets the expectations. Expectations are a strong belief that something will happen or be the case. When you send the invite, include the agenda so people can prepare. Preparation prevents poor performance. This is a common business mantra. A mantra is a statement or slogan repeated frequently. During the meeting, someone must take minutes. Minutes are the official written record of a meeting. They are not a transcript of every word said, but a summary of decisions made. At the end of a meeting, you must have clear action items. An action item is a specific task that must be completed. It needs an owner and a deadline. For example, John will email the client by Friday. If you leave a meeting without action items, it was just a chat. We also use the term take the chair or chair the meeting. To chair a meeting means to lead or facilitate it. To facilitate means to make an action or process easy or easier. A good facilitator organizes the conversation. They stop people from rambling. To ramble means to talk or write at length in a confused or inconsequential way. If someone is rambling, the chair might say, "Let us get back on topic." This is a polite way to organize the flow of the discussion. Now let us talk about organizing your speech. Whether you are giving a presentation or just speaking in a team meeting, you need structure. Structure is the arrangement of and relations between the parts or elements of something complex. A very popular structure is the rule of three. The human brain likes things in threes. For example, you might say, I have 3 points to cover today. First, the problem. Second, the solution. Third, the benefit. This organizes the listener's mind. They know what to expect. We call this signposting. Signposting is using words and phrases to guide the listener through your talk, just like road signs guide a driver. Phrases like moving on to the next point or in conclusion are signposts. They are essential for clarity. What if you have to speak without preparation? This is called impromptu speaking. Impromptu means done without being planned, organized, or rehearsed. This can be scary, but you can organize your thoughts instantly using the PREP method. PREP stands for point, reason, example, point. First state your point, then give a reason, then give an example, then restate your point. For example, if someone asks, "Do you like remote work?" you say, point, I love remote work. Reason, it saves me commuting time. Example, yesterday I used that time to study English. Point, that is why I love remote work. See how organized that sounds. You sound confident and articulate. Articulate means having or showing the ability to speak fluently and coherently. Let us shift to organizing your professional network. Networking is the action or process of interacting with others to exchange information and develop professional or social contacts. But collecting business cards is not enough. You need to organize those contacts. In the old days, people used a Rolodex. A Rolodex was a rotating file device used to store business contact information. Today we use a CRM, which stands for Customer Relationship Management System. Even if you are not in sales, you can have a personal CRM. It could just be a spreadsheet. Keep track of who you met, where you met them, and what you talked about. The key to networking is the follow-up. The follow-up is a further action or communication that serves to reinforce or assess the effectiveness of a previous one. If you meet someone at a conference, send them an email the next day. Say it was great to meet you. This organizes the relationship. It moves it from a cold contact to a warm contact. A cold contact is someone you do not know well. A warm contact is someone you have a rapport with. Rapport is a close and harmonious relationship in which the people or groups concerned understand each other's feelings or ideas and communicate well. Let us briefly touch on financial organization. This is a huge topic, but it is part of organizing your life. You need a budget. A budget is an estimate of income and expenditure for a set period of time. Income is money coming in. Expenditure is money going out. You should track your expenses. To track means to follow the course or trail of someone or something. If you do not track your spending, you might wonder where your money went. We categorize expenses into fixed and variable. Fixed expenses are the same every month, like rent. Variable expenses change like food or entertainment. Being organized with money gives you freedom. It reduces stress. There's a proverb, a penny saved is a penny earned. It means it is as useful to save money that you already have as it is to earn more. Now let us look at conflict resolution. Conflict is a serious disagreement or argument. When you are in a conflict, your emotions can get disorganized. You might feel angry or defensive. Defensive means very anxious to challenge or avoid criticism. To organize your response, you need to take a beat. To take a beat is an idiom meaning to pause for a moment to think. Do not react immediately. Respond thoughtfully. Use I statements instead of you statements. Instead of saying, "You are lazy," say, "I feel concerned when deadlines are missed." This organizes the conversation around your feelings rather than attacking the other person. It is more diplomatic. Diplomatic means having or showing an ability to deal with people in a sensitive and effective way. Another professional skill is giving and receiving feedback. Feedback is information about reactions to a product, a person's performance of a task, etc., which is used as a basis for improvement. Constructive criticism is feedback that is helpful and intended to improve something. Destructive criticism is just mean. To organize your feedback, use the sandwich method. Start with something positive, then give the critique, then end with something positive. For example, your report was very detailed. I think the introduction could be shorter. But overall, excellent work. This makes the feedback easier to swallow. To swallow here means to accept. Let us discuss the concept of the career map. A career map is a visual representation of your career goals and the steps needed to achieve them. Many people drift through their careers. We talked about drifting earlier. To organize your career, you need a 5-year plan. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Do you want to be a manager? Do you want to start your own business? Once you have the destination, you can work backward. To work backward means to start with the result and identify the steps needed to get there. If you want to be a manager, you need leadership skills. So organize your time now to take a leadership course. This is strategic thinking. Strategic means relating to the identification of long-term or overall aims and interests, and the means of achieving them. I want to introduce the vocabulary of efficiency in communication. In business, time is money. This is a proverb meaning time is a valuable resource, so it is better to do things as quickly as possible. When you write emails, be concise. Concise means giving a lot of information clearly and in a few words. Do not write a novel. Use bullet points. Bullet points are a list of items, each preceded by a heavy dot. Ironically, I am not using bullet points in this script because we are practicing continuous prose, but in an email they are very useful for organization. Subject lines are also crucial. The subject line is the title of the email. Make it descriptive. Instead of saying, "Hello," say "Meeting request Tuesday, 2 p.m." This allows the receiver to organize their inbox effectively. Let us talk about the concept of delegation again, but in a professional context. If you want to move up the ladder, you must delegate. To move up the ladder is an idiom meaning to advance in one's career. You cannot do everything. You must trust your team. Trust is the firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. To organize delegation, use the SMART framework we learned earlier. Be specific about what you want done. Set a deadline. If you dump work on people without instruction, they will fail. To dump means to put down or deposit something in a careless way. Do not dump delegate. We should also cover the organization of your digital workspace for collaboration. Collaboration is the action of working with someone to produce or create something. Tools like Google Drive or Slack help us collaborate, but they can become messy. Establish naming conventions. A naming convention is a consistent way of naming files. For example, date project, name document type. If everyone uses the same convention, files are easy to find. This is part of knowledge management. Knowledge management is the efficient handling of information and resources within a commercial organization. If an employee leaves the company, their knowledge should stay organized in the system. Let us practice some shadowing on these business terms. Repeat after me. I need to set an agenda before I chair the meeting. Try that. I need to set an agenda before I chair the meeting. Good. Here is one about speaking. I will use signposting to make my presentation clear. Excellent. And one about money. I need to track my variable expenses to stay within budget. Very good. You are sounding very professional. I want to address the feeling of imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own efforts and skills. You might feel like a fake. You might think everyone else is organized and smart and I am a mess. This is not true. Everyone is struggling to stay organized, even CEOs. CEO stands for Chief Executive Officer, the highest-ranking person in a company. Even they have messy days. The difference is they have systems to get back on track. Do not let imposter syndrome stop you from trying to organize your career. You belong here. To belong means to be a member or part of a particular group or organization. Let us look at the idea of the elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is a succinct and persuasive sales pitch. It is called that because it should be short enough to deliver during an elevator ride, essentially 30 seconds. You should have an elevator pitch for yourself. Who are you? What do you do? What is your value? Organize this script in your head. For example, hi, I am Jessica. I am an English teacher who helps intermediate learners become advanced speakers through immersive podcasting. That is short, clear, and organized. Prepare your elevator pitch today. You never know when you will meet someone important. We are almost at the end of this masterclass section. I want to leave you with the concept of continuous improvement. In Japanese business philosophy, this is called Kaizen. Kaizen means change for the better, or continuous improvement. It is the idea that small positive changes can reap major improvements. To reap means to receive a reward or benefit as a consequence of one's own or other people's actions. You do not have to be perfect today. Just be a little better than yesterday. Fix one typo in your email template. Organize one drawer in your desk. Learn one new business idiom. These small actions compound. To compound means to make something bad worse or intensifies the negative aspects of but. In finance and self-improvement, it means to add interest on interest leading to exponential growth. Let your efforts compound. Thank you for exploring the professional side of organization with me. We have covered meetings, speeches, networking, money, and career planning. These are the skills that will set you apart. To set someone apart means to make someone seem better or different. You are setting yourself apart by learning English at this level. You are investing in your future. Investing means expending money with the expectation of achieving a profit or material result. But here, it means spending time to get a better future. As we bring this extensive masterclass to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought about consistency. We have talked about many tools, techniques, and strategies, but the most important tool is you. You are the architect of your own life. Do not feel overwhelmed by all this information. Just pick one thing. Start small. Maybe tomorrow you just organize your desk. Maybe the next day you write a to-do list. Step by step, you will build a life that feels calm, purposeful, and organized. I am Jessica, and this has been English in Advance. It has been an absolute pleasure to guide you through this journey. If you found this content helpful, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. Tell me what your biggest takeaway from today was. I love reading your stories. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and remember that every day is a new opportunity to get organized. Goodbye for now, and take care.